Hey everyone, I'm Alejandro Vélez, co-founder and co-CEO of Back to the Roots. This is part 2 of my interview, and if you haven't listened to part 1 yet, go back and start there. In this one, we get into the company itself, how Nick Hill and I walked away from lucrative job offers to becoming urban farmers and waste collectors, and how we went from one product in one Whole Foods market to over 200 products in over 10,000 stores today, and really what the American dream actually means to me. All right, let's get into it.
Giving up this investment banking job offer to become a waste collector was pretty crazy, right? I mean, people thought I was nuts. Nick Hill, my co-founder, did the same thing. He was going into consulting, gave up his offer to start this thing that we called Back to the Roots. We had no real supply, no real demand, but we said, hey, we're 20 years old. Let's go do this. The beautiful thing about this is before we had a product, we had a very clear mission, or an idea of, hey, this is beyond the products we create. Like, as we started learning to grow food, we're like, this is magic. Like, we're taking waste, stuff that we were throwing away, and we were using it not as a waste, but as a wasted resource that we could then use to grow other stuff and give life. And I'm like, we hadn't grown anything in our lives. We hadn't gardened before. And it just felt so cool. And we said, let's just do this and let's connect people to food. Let's let them realize where food comes from. And keep in mind also, we were riding we were standing on the shoulders of a lot of just the giants of the organic and natural food movement. This was in 2010. So we already had a couple decades of folks like Michael Pollan, the author that has really broken down how broken our food system is. Gary Hirschberg, founder of Stonyfield Farms, John Foraker, the CEO of Annie's, John Mackey, founder of Whole Foods. These are folks we were kind of hearing about this, and then we're like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. The idea of not putting thousands of chemicals into our food. And then on the other side, we were getting inspired to grow food. So that led us to just double down on this company. And we went from selling one, item first. And, it was a produce item that we sold to Whole Foods Market. And then we had a little mushroom kit that we sold to the Home Depot. We walked in and we just pitched the Home Depot. And for 5 years, that was it. We were selling fresh mushrooms in a little mushroom kit. And then 5 years doing that, 5 a.m. to, we'd demo at nights after we planted and harvested, we'd go and demo at night. And then it led to us saying, hey, we want other people to grow their own food. And that's really kind of the last evolution of Back to the Roots, which is now over 200 SKUs that we have in over 10,000 stores around the United States. And it's a very simple, we're the pure organic garden brand that wants to get you to grow. We want to garden in every home, every classroom, and we have to have that garden be organic. After giving up our offers, for 5 years straight, we became urban farmers and waste collectors. In that, we were actually building our warehouse and all our equipment from our local, the Home Depot at the Emeryville Home Depot store. And then our office was the Starbucks right in front. There's a Starbucks right in front of the Home Depot. And that was our office. So we, for 5 years, did this continuously. And then through that, we realized oh my gosh, we want to be able to create this magic of us growing in an urban setting. We want this to be in every home, every classroom of America. We want this, imagine if we could get millions of people to experience this magic. We don't know what it'll do, but just that spark of just curiosity around growing food. And it's wild to grow food. I mean, it still blows my mind how you're turning nothing into something. And that's what the brand's about. It's about inspiring a whole new generation to grow food, inspiring a whole just community to connect to food, know where your food comes from. That's what we want to build. We want to, that's what Back to Roots is all about. So if we kind of fast forward to what happened, we went from one product in one store, and then which we would demo at. And at this point now, I've demoed in hundreds of the Home Depots. I mean, I've been in hundreds of Home Depots in this decade-long overnight. This has been a long night, but it's an overnight success story. And through that, we now have 200 different products that all hit at the same clear mission. We want to get every single person to grow their own food, and we want that to be organic. I think so. A lot of people now, I think, talk to me about success. And I don't like to talk about success. I like to think about what is it that you do every day, and does it give you energy or take energy away from you? So when I wake up every day, I'm so energized to come to work. I work with people who I have tremendous respect for. I work with partners that are super smart, have extremely high expectations for this brand and what we can achieve. And that is really energizing. I get to solve problems every day, really tough problems, and competing against some fierce competitors. That ultimately is a lot of fun. Like, I love that aspect of it. So I am absolutely living the American dream. Is that success? I don't know, and I don't care. Like, I wake up, I have energy every day. I'm doing something I love with people I love. I believe in this brand, and I want more people to live this too. I fell in love with retail, creating products. I mean, it's mind-blowing how a product gets to a shelf. It is the number of touch points, the number of people that have to be involved and coordinated to get a product perfectly on a shelf. Like, you have to get raw materials that are sourced from all around the country, sometimes around the world. You bring it to some probably warehouse for the most part. You then put it together with, a team that then puts into case packs, palletized, truckloads that get shipped to distribution centers, which then end up to a local store, the Home Depot. And then you have a depot associate that magically knows what to do with that widget and put it in that perfect location. That is like the coolest thing. And somehow that product looks perfect, and it's $4.98 on the shelf. Like, that is like capitalism at its best. That is America. Like, to me, that's just beautiful. Like, how you have so many folks working together towards one purpose. But that became my purpose. I thought I was going to be a tennis player, and I ended up realizing I was pretty bad at it once I got to college. And now, like, through that action, I've realized that this is my passion. This is my calling. I was born to do this. I want to create products with a purpose, with incredible people around me who are super smart. And I want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to retire. I will stop when I die. Like, that is the American dream, I guess. But maybe this idea of like success or failure, I'm like, what is that? Like, I've failed continuously. I'll open up my phone after this, and there's tons of failures from the last few months of decisions that my team and I made that were probably bad decisions. So I'll fail continuously. But I still am like getting to decide to come to work and do what I want to do. And that, I feel like, is the American dream. And I think it's both have to be true for the American dream to be real individually for every person. I think it's the freedom to choose and do the work. Choose to be present in whatever you're doing. I'm launching a brand that I love, but maybe that's not your American dream, but find yours and commit to it. I think both have to be true. Choose it and commit. It's so easy to open up your phone and see people who are doing so much more than you are at a younger age and bigger and better. So I think the first step is just to take a breath and relax and pause. And if you assess what's in your life as it is today, don't blame your parents for not doing this or that or bad decisions. You're here, and there's a reason you're here. Inventory your garbage, throw it out. Throw out that garbage. So whatever things in your life you don't want to have, get out of that and try to simplify it. And now, whatever job you're doing today, we're all working. If you're in school, you're working. Do that job fully and be present. And maybe that won't be what your ultimate calling is in life, but you're not going to figure that out in your home sad or at your job sad. you're going to figure it out by being extremely present in whatever you're doing. If you're an associate at the Home Depot, be all in. And maybe the Home Depot is not your long-term calling, but maybe working for a vendor of the Home Depot, or maybe working for the technology company that provides the technology for the inventory system of the Home Depot. Like, there's something there that's going to just spark your curiosity, but you will never find it if you're not present, if you're not looking, if you're just sitting back and worried about all the bad stuff that you have in your life. You will never find it. And nobody has the answer but you. So if whoever you are, wherever you are, get out of whatever, garbage you have, be present, and go all in and learn. And opportunities will start opening up in your life. I guarantee you, once you're present, you're all in, people will show up in your life that you never expected. People that will guide you and give you that calling, whether you believe in God. I believe in God. Others don't have to believe in God. But at the end of the day, like, once you're present and you're part of this tiny little, short window of time that we get to call life, and we get to partake in this experiment that we call capitalism. Like, if you're all in on this, it will absorb you and make you the person that you want to be. The Home Depot is the largest home improvement retailer on earth, and you'll happen to have a lot of the consumers who are seeking out to solve a problem at home, which is to, create a garden or landscape in a more organic way. And that's what our brand is about, and that's what we're about. So I think that's, like, obviously there's a natural partnership there, but it's so much more than that. And I say that I'm not a hired CEO. I'm not like an executive they hired. This is the only job I've ever had. Like, so I learned on the job. I mean, and my job was hitting stores and talking to associates, and them, getting mad at me and giving me crap for, hey, you're the company that doesn't deliver on time. You're the company that's late. What do you mean you track that stuff? I mean, when I'm 22, you track how our, one SKU gets this? Absolutely. And then they'd show me how, and they look at it and like, hey, your product doesn't sell. What do you mean it doesn't sell relative to what? Well, your shelf space is, we measure, and they would take measurement. We do it all the way to, somebody, Charlie Rossi is somebody. So we're local to his region. We're in Oakland, California. That's where we started this company. That's where we're headquartered. And Charlie runs the garden department at the San Rafael Home Depot store. And gosh, the amount of lessons that we take from him. This is over 10 years back when we were just selling one little product. We put it in our store, and he just taught us so much of just the detail. And he's over 30 years at the Home Depot. I believe it's 34 years this year that he's with the Home Depot. And, I had we had our board of directors meeting, and I had my whole leadership team come and do a walk with Charlie. And I just want them to absorb his energy. We get to the store, and Charlie's, Alex, your delivery time, that's the first thing. He doesn't say hi. So your delivery time to our store on your soils is one day too slow. I need you guys to speed it up. And then he's like, great to meet you all, but let's go and take a look at the products. And then he just starts going through all the rights of retail, and like knows so many details and cares about every detail. He says, I'm going to change this. And then within 24 hours, that change is done. Like, he moves so fast. So, I mean, talk about just learning about execution in retail, how important speed above overthinking. Just, I think attention to detail, working hard, listening. I mean, in the middle of our conversation, he'd pause and a customer stopping by. So we pause and we help the customer. And then that's part of our Back to Roots culture. So we now go, and if we're in a store, we work for the Home Depot and Back to the Roots. We're out. If a customer comes and thinks a lot of times they think we work at the Home Depot, and we say, great, how can we help you? The beauty now with nice billions of dollars of investment from the Home Depot, now we pull up our phone and we can look it up for some consumers that maybe, aren't using the app. So we get to look like and solve their problems. So there's just like endless just examples of over 11 years. Maybe it's the theme of my life. It's the two truths. I just want to have the same energy that I have now towards Back to the Roots in 20 years. Like, that will be hugely successful. That's one. I think the other part of it is I want this brand to be a household name. where hundreds of millions of Americans have experienced the magic of Back to the Roots, which is through the amount of detail we put into every one of our products. I want them to feel that, touch that, be inspired by that. I want to have a whole generation that's more connected to food. I want for the US government to actually make it a requirement to have gardening as part of a graduation from 8th grade to high school. How cool would that be? And Come Back to Roots be part of inspiring that. And I want kids workshops that the Home Depot does every single year and has done it just because it's the right thing to do. I want that to be done everywhere. I want every kid to be able to, every Saturday, wherever they live, to be able to go into their local shop and be able to build stuff. I want that to happen. So I think those two things are true. I want to have this energy that I have, work with the amazing team, work with my co-founder, Nick Hill, in 20 years. And I want to see some really cool stuff continue to get built around me.